Have you ever wondered how small habits shape our lives? Well, let's delve into the fascinating world of atomic habits, a concept that beautifully illustrates the power of tiny, consistent actions. Consider atomic habits as the building blocks of our daily routines. Just as atoms are the smallest units of matter yet form everything we know and see, atomic habits are small, seemingly insignificant behaviors that, when regularly repeated, shape our lives in profound ways. The beauty of these tiny habits lies in their simplicity and their power in their repetition. Think about it. A 1% improvement in any area of your life may not seem like much at first glance. But when you commit to making that 1% improvement every day, the results over time can be staggering. This is the magic of compounding, a principle as applicable to our habits as it is to our finances. Imagine if you could improve your productivity, your health, or your relationships by just 1% every day. Over the course of a year, these small changes would not just add up, they would multiply, leading to transformational results. However, the key to unlocking the power of atomic habits is consistency. It's not about making a massive change in a single day, but about making small, manageable changes that you can stick with over time. It's like watering a plant. You can't just drench it once and expect it to thrive. It needs consistent care and attention to grow and flourish. So how do you cultivate atomic habits? Start small. Make the habit so easy you can't say no. Then increase your habit in very small ways. As you build up, stick to a pace you can sustain. Tiny habits, when practiced consistently, can lead to monumental changes. Remember, Rome wasn't built in a day, and neither are we. Our habits, no matter how small, play a vital role in shaping who we are and who we become. So let's harness the power of these atomic habits to build a better version of ourselves. After all, tiny habits, when practiced consistently, can lead to monumental changes. Are you aware of the cycle that drives our habits? This cycle, known as the habit loop, is a four-step process that our brains go through repeatedly. And no, it's not some mystical, complex phenomenon. It's rather simple and quite fascinating once you break it down. The first step in this cycle is the cue. This is a trigger that tells your brain to go into automatic mode. It could be anything: a location, a time of day, an emotional state, or even the company of particular people. These cues spark the beginning of the habit loop. Next up is the craving. This is the motivational force behind every habit. It's not the habit itself that you crave, but the change in state it delivers. You don't crave the act of smoking a cigarette, you crave the feeling of relaxation it provides. Cravings are the fuel that drives the habit loop forward. Then we have the response. This is the actual habit you perform, which can be a thought or an action. Whether a response occurs depends on how motivated you are and how much friction is associated with the behavior. If a particular action requires more physical or mental effort than you are willing to expend, then you won't do it. Finally, we arrive at the reward, the end goal of every habit. Rewards satisfy our cravings and teach us which actions are worth remembering in the future. It's the sense of satisfaction or accomplishment you feel after doing something, like the feeling of refreshment after a good workout or the taste of your favorite coffee in the morning. Understanding this four-step loop is crucial to forming new habits or breaking old ones. By identifying your cues and cravings, you can replace old habits with new ones that deliver the same rewards. On the other hand, by making the rewards of good habits more immediate or making the actions that lead to bad habits more difficult, you can influence the habit loop in your favor. Understanding the habit loop provides the key to mastering our habits. It's a fascinating insight into the workings of our brains and a powerful tool in our quest for self-improvement. Ever thought about how to build good habits that stick? Well, we're going to delve into that right now. It all starts with understanding the 4 laws of behavior change. These laws are like the building blocks of habit formation. They are: make it obvious, make it attractive, make it easy, and make it satisfying. The first law is to make it obvious. This refers to the cues that trigger our habits. If we want to establish a new habit, we need to make the cue obvious. Let's say you want to start reading more. An obvious cue might be placing a book on your bedside table, so it's the first thing you see when you wake up and the last thing you see before you sleep. Next is to make it attractive. The more appealing the habit, the more likely we are to do it. So find a way to make your new habit attractive. If reading is your goal, perhaps you start with a genre or author you love. You could even reward yourself with a hot cup of coffee while you read. The third law is to make it easy. The simpler a habit is to do, the more likely it is to stick. For reading, this might mean starting with a short book or setting a goal to read just 10 pages a day. The idea is to make the habit achievable so you're more likely to do it consistently. Finally, make it satisfying. We're more likely to repeat a habit if it's rewarding, so think about how you can make the habit satisfying. Maybe you enjoy the peace and quiet that comes with reading, or perhaps you feel accomplished when you finish a chapter. Remember, building good habits is a process, not an event. It's about making the right choices consistently. The 4 laws of behavior change are tools that can help guide you in this process. Use them to your advantage and you'll be well on your way to building habits that stick. Breaking bad habits can be challenging, but what if you could make it easier? Let's dive into the deep end of how the 4 laws of behavior change can be inverted to break bad habits. The first law, the cue, can be reversed by making the cues of your bad habits invisible. Think about it, if you can't see the cookie jar, you're less likely to be tempted by it. The environment plays a significant role in shaping our behavior, so try to redesign your surroundings that don't serve your bad habits. The second law, craving, can be inverted by making the bad habits unattractive. Our brains are wired to seek rewards, but what if we rewire them to associate bad habits with negative outcomes? For instance, instead of thinking about how much you enjoy a late-night snack, remind yourself of the discomfort of indigestion or the sluggish feeling the next morning. The third law, the response, can be flipped by making the bad habits difficult. Add friction to the process. If you want to cut down on screen time, place your phone in another room. The extra effort required to fetch it will often be enough to kill the urge. Lastly, the fourth law, the reward, can be inverted by making the bad habits unsatisfying. What if there was immediate negative feedback for your bad habits? For instance, if you're trying to quit smoking, calculate the money you'd save by not buying cigarettes and visualize what you could do with that money. Inverting these laws is not about punishment. It's about creating an environment where bad habits can't thrive. It's about rewiring our brains to associate bad habits with negative outcomes, making the process of engaging in them more difficult and their rewards less satisfying. Remember, habits don't change overnight. It's a gradual process, and it's okay to stumble along the way. The key is consistency and understanding that every small step you take is a step closer to a better you. Breaking bad habits is about understanding and manipulating the habit loop to your advantage. What if you could multiply the effects of your good habits? Imagine a world where every positive action you take is not just a single step forward, but a leap, propelling you towards your goals at warp speed. This isn't a fantasy, it's the reality of habit stacking. Habit stacking is the practice of coupling a new habit with an existing one, creating a domino effect of productivity and progress. Picture it like this. You already have a habit of brushing your teeth every morning, right? Now what if you added a quick 5-minute meditation session right after that? You're not just cleaning your teeth, but also clearing your mind, setting a peaceful tone for the day. The beauty of habit stacking lies in its simplicity. It leverages the power of your established habits, serving as a sturdy foundation for new ones. It's a bridge, linking the familiar with the novel, making the unfamiliar less daunting and more welcoming. Habit stacking is a powerful tool for making new habits stick. So, how can atomic habits change your life? Let's recap what we've learned today. The magic lies in the power of tiny habits. These seemingly insignificant actions are like atoms, tiny but mighty, building up to form the structure of our lives. This ties into the concept of the habit loop, which encompasses the cue, craving, response, and reward that drive our behaviors. Building good habits is not just about willpower. It's about understanding and applying the 4 laws of behavior change. Make it obvious, make it attractive, make it easy, and make it satisfying. Conversely, to break bad habits, we simply invert these laws. Last but not least, we have the ingenious strategy of habit stacking, where we link new habits to existing ones, making it easier to integrate them into our routine. Master your habits, and you master your life. Remember, small changes can make a big difference.